Good morning, children. In the last session, we have started a new chapter that is cell, the unit of life. So in this session, I am going to teach about a different cell organelles. Okay, so we're going to learn a very detail about each cell organelle. The first cell organelle I am going to explain that is cell wall. So what is cell wall? That in the last session we told. So here we're going to learn what are the functions of cell wall. So we told in all the cells, in animal and plant cells, we can see cell membrane or plasma membrane, but in some plant cell or bacteria, fungi, we can see even the cell wall also. So let us see what are the functions of this cell wall. It gives the cell a definite shape and structure. So that is first function. It gives definite shape and structure. Second, provides structural support. Okay, we have backbone. It gives a shape, structure, and support. The same like it provides structural support. Protection against infection and mechanical stress. Another function of cell wall, protection against infection and mechanical stress. Separates interior of the cell from the outer environment. So inside the cell, many things are present, cell content, usually we will call. It is separate from the outer environment. That is the function of cell wall. It enables transport of substances and information from the cell insides to the exterior and vice versa. So it also allowing the transport of substance from the cell to the outside, from the outside to the cell. Also helps in osmotic regulation. Osmotic means water regulation, water content regulation. That is called osmosis. You know what is meant by osmosis? The movement of water from higher concentration to lower concentration. The movement of water, that is called osmosis. Diffusion means the movement of any substance from higher concentration to lower concentration. It is called diffusion. The same way water moves from higher to lower, that is called osmosis or osmotic regulation. For that also, who is helping? Cell wall will help. Prevents water loss. The physiological and biochemical activity of the cell wall helps in cell communication. For the cell communication also, cell wall will help. It prevents the cell from rupturing due to turgor pressure. So it's it's like a wall, like it's very strong. So it prevents the cell from rupturing due to turgor pressure. Aids in diffusion of gases in and out of the cell, and also for the diffusion of gases. Diffusion means from higher concentration to lower concentration, the movement of the gas from higher concentration to lower concentration, that is called a diffusion. So diffusion of gases in and out of the cell. Who will be helping? Cell wall will help. So you can see this is cell wall, structure of cell wall. Plasmodesmata, the bridge to somewhere. Okay, you can see. So this is a cell wall. This is like a bridge, like you can see here, there is one bridge. This is called plasma. From one cell to another cell, there is a connection. That is called a bridge. That is called plasmodesmata. This is Casparian strip. This is cell wall. Green color, you can see this is cell wall. Cytoplasm. There is a fluid present inside the cell, that is cytoplasm. This is vacuole, food vacuole. So we learn in the case of plant, the vacuole is large in size, bigger in size, but in animal cell, it is small in size. Then there are two types of pathway. One is the movement of the substance taking place through different ways. So one is apoplastic pathway, second one is symplastic pathway. Apoplastic pathway means through cell wall. You can see here, this green portion. Through cell wall, the movement of the substance taking place through the cell wall, that is called apoplastic pathway. Symplastic pathway means through cytoplasm. So this is a cytoplasm. The movement of the substance taking place through the cytoplasm like this, that is known as symplastic pathway. The next we're going to learn about cell membrane. You know, next to the cell wall or below the cell wall, we can see cell membrane. Okay, it is present in both the plant cell and animal cell. It is the boundary which separates the living cell from their non-living surroundings. So it's like a boundary, like it separates the living cell from their non-living. Even the cell wall, it is also non-living, but cell membrane, it is living thing. Okay. So it is a boundary which separates the living cell from their non-living surroundings. In animal cells, the plasma membrane, it is also known as cell membrane. In animal cells, the plasma membrane is present in the outermost layer of the cell, and in plant cell, it is present just beneath the cell wall. So as we study, in the case of plant cell, we can see cell wall next to the cell membrane, but in animal cell, that is the outermost layer. It's very thin, flexible, living membrane. It possesses fine pores. They are very thin, flexible. It's a living membrane. It's not a non-living. It's a living membrane, and it possesses fine pores or openings or holes. It is composed of two layers of phospholipids and embedded with proteins. So how it is made up of? It is composed of two layers of phospholipids and embedded with proteins. Clear? It is a thin semi-permeable layer. Semi-permeable, it is also known as partially permeable because it allows only selected molecules to diffuse across the membrane. But the cell wall is permeable. It will allow everything to get inside. But here, this is semi-permeable. It means which allows only selected molecule to diffuse across the membrane. So that is known as semi-permeable. You can see here membrane transport. We told here there is a two layers of phospholipids. Okay, so see lipid bilayer, two layer, that is called a bilayer. Phospholipid, lipid bilayer, this is one. So second one. Then this is transported molecules. Here simple diffusion method from higher concentration to lower concentration. It's happening through the lipid layer. Lipid, I told it's a bilayer, two layers. So through this transport of material will take place by diffusion. Diffusion means higher concentration to lower concentration it moves. That is happening, simple diffusion. Here you can see channel protein. This is a channel protein. This is channel mediated. Through this also molecules are moving from outer to inside. Here, this is carrier protein. Carrier protein, you can see here, see this is carrier mediated. Okay, carrier mediated also same like from higher concentration to lower concentration it takes place. Okay, here you see it's going against the gradient. It means it's going from lower concentration to higher concentration. So it's going against the concentration gradient. So what it is known as, that is known as active transport. It needs energy. If the molecules move from higher concentration to lower concentration, that is called passive transport. It does not require energy. Without energy, it will take place. But if the molecules are moving from, it is moving against the concentration gradient. It means from lower concentration to higher concentration, what requires? It requires energy. That is called active transport. Clear? So here you can see concentration gradient. This is higher concentration. This is lower concentration. Clear? From higher to lower, no need energy. That is called passive transport. But lower to higher is going against the concentration gradient. Lower to higher, they need energy. That is known as active transport. Clear? The next one is cell membrane. The cell membrane, it is, this is called the fluid mosaic model of cell membrane. Yeah, okay. Why it is called fluid? This fluid mosaic model of membrane, it was invented by S.J. Singer and G.L. Nicholson in 1972. I'll tell you why it is called fluid mosaic model. So this fluid mosaic model of cell membrane, who invented? S.J. Singer and G.L. Nicholson. In which year? 1972. Clear? Then it is phospholipids bilayer. We already told it is bilayer. This is one layer. This is second layer. 1, 2. So it is two layers. Phospholipids bilayer. Plasma membrane is an amphipathic which contains both hydraulic heads and hydrophobic tails. Why it is called amphipathic? It means which contains both. What it contains? Hydrophilic heads and hydrophobic tails. You see here, this is a head, round shape. This is a tail. Same like here you can see, this is a head, this is the tail. Okay, so polar heads of phospholipid molecules. So these are the polar heads. Second, bimolecular lipid layer containing proteins. So this is a bimolecular lipid layer containing proteins. Then non-polar tails. So these are the tails. You can see here five thin tails. Non-polar tails of phospholipid molecules. So these are the head, these are the tails. Clear? So plasma membrane is a amphipathic which contains both hydrophilic heads and hydrophobic tails. It's a fluid mosaic of lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. I told I'll explain why it is called fluid mosaic model before that. How it is made up of? It is made up of mainly three things. This is made up of lipids, proteins, and carbohydrate. Lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. It is lipid bilayer. I have already showed. So these are the lipid bilayer, which contains two layers of phospholipids. Phosphate head is polar, that is called water loving. Fatty acid tail non-polar, they are water fearing, and the proteins embedded in membrane. Okay, so they have head is made up of phosphate head is polar means they are water loving, and the tail is made up of what? It is made up of fatty tails. This is non-polar means water fearing, and the proteins also embedded in this membrane. Clear? Then I told just now why it is called fluid mosaic model. I'll tell you. An improved model of this structure of cell membrane was proposed by Singer and Nicholson in 1972, widely accepted as fluid mosaic model. According to this, the quasi-fluid nature of lipid enables lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayer. So what they say? The quasi-fluid nature of the lipid enables the lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayer. This ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. Okay, so what can freely move here? Proteins can freely move because of the fluid nature of the lipid. Understood? So we told here there is a bilayer of lipids. So it is quasi-fluid nature of the lipid enables lateral movement of the proteins within the overall bilayer. This ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. That is the reason it is known as fluid mosaic model. You know what is the mosaic? Mosaic means you can see there are different colored chips, the same like you look at here. It's a fluidity it has, and also you can see there are different colors you can see. That is called fluid mosaic model of cell membrane. It's invented by S.J. Singer and G.L. Nicholson in 1972. Clear? Then what are the other parts? I will show you. Carbohydrate, I told it is made of carbohydrate of glycocalyx, say carbohydrate. Then extracellular fluid outside water environment, peripheral protein outer side, peripheral protein. Then what is this? Glycoprotein, this purple color, this is glycoprotein. Then this is glycolipid, integral proteins. These are integral protein. This is the last. So this is peripheral protein. This is integral protein. Then filaments of cytoskeleton. You can see some filament-like structures. They are filaments of cytoskeletons. Then cholesterol, yellow color portion, you can see that is cholesterol. Then outward facing layer of phospholipids, inward facing layer of phospholipids. Okay, so there is a two layers, head and tail. Here also head and tail. So this is outside, this is inside. So this is called outward facing layer of phospholipids. This is called inward facing layer of phospholipids. So this is a fluid mosaic model of cell membrane. Clear? Then what are the main functions of cell membrane? Separates content of the cell from its surrounding. One is it separates content of the cell from its surrounding. Second, regulates the entry of certain solutes and iron. Okay, it regulates. It's a semi-permeable. So it regulates the entry of certain excuse me, certain solutes and ions. Third one function is maintain the shape of the cell. In animal cell, it maintain the shape of the cell. The plant cell, what we can see, we can also see cell wall. Clear? So these are the three main functions of chief functions of plasma membrane. Then what are the difference between cell wall and cell membrane? Okay, so what are the main difference between cell wall and cell membrane? First, cell wall is It is rigid, thick structure and visible in light microscope. Here, it is delicate, thin structure and visible only in electron microscope. Second difference, it is outermost layer in plant cell and occurs as a protective covering surrounding the plasma membrane or cell membrane. Here, cell membrane, it is the outermost layer in animal cell and occurs as a semi-permeable covering surrounding the protoplasm. So here semi-permeable, here this is permeable. Cell wall is made up of cellulose in plant cell. It is made up of peptidoglycan in bacteria, chitin in fungi. Okay, so cell wall is made up of cellulose in plant cell, peptidoglycan in bacteria, and chitin in fungi. Here, plasma membrane is made of lipids, proteins, and small amount of carbohydrates. Lipids, proteins, and small amount of carbohydrates. The next difference, it is completely permeable. Just what I told, it's completely permeable to ordinary macromolecules. But here it is selectively permeable or semi-permeable, allowing only certain molecules to pass. Clear? The next difference, it occurs in plant cell, bacterium and fungus. Here it occurs in all cells. Cell membrane, it occurs in all cells. But a cell wall, it occurs in plant cell, bacterium and fungus. It is metabolically active and non-living. This is metabolically inactive. Metabolically inactive and non-living. This is non-living. But this is metabolically active and living thing. Clear? So this is living. Cell wall is non-living, but the cell membrane is living. It determines the cell shape and offers protection. Determines cell shape, it gives a cell shape and also offers protection. It protects protoplasm and maintains a constant internal environment to the protoplasm. Okay, it protects protoplasm and maintains a constant internal environment to the protoplasm. So these are the main difference between cell wall and cell membrane. Yeah, here protoplasm. Protoplasm means nothing but nucleus and cytoplasm. So this is a cell boundary. Inside you can see there is a fluid-like portion that is called the cytoplasm. And here you can see nucleus. So cytoplasm, which contains many cell organelles. So cytoplasm and the nucleus both together, what it is called protoplasm. Yes, now we can see protoplasm, what are the functions also you can see. Yes. The living component of protoplasm means nothing but I told cytoplasm and the nucleus together is called protoplasm. That is a living component of a cell. So protoplasm means it is equal to cytoplasm plus nucleus surrounded by which membrane? Plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plant cells have an outer boundary called cell wall. So what are the components? Both the components we will see. Okay, look at this diagram. So first one is cytoplasm. Here, this is cytoplasm, liquid surrounding the nucleus. This is nucleus. Both together, what it is called? Protoplasm. All the living matter in a cell. Here, this is cell membrane or plasma membrane. So cytoplasm means jelly-like substance enclosed by cell membrane. It's a jelly-like fluid enclosed by cell membrane, contains organelles to carry out specific job. So it contains many organelles, each organelle will do specific functions. Provides a medium for chemical reactions to take place. It also providing a cytoplasm. It gives a medium for chemical reactions to take place. Then second one is nucleus. The cell nucleus acts like the brain of the cell. So which is the brain of the cell? Nucleus is known as brain of the cell. It contains genetic material. So this nucleus, it contains genetic material. So which are the material? It contains nucleolus and also chromosomes or chromatin fibers that contains DNA and RNA. So it contains genetic material. So this is nucleus. So this is cell boundary, plasma membrane or cell membrane. So next to that, we can see cell wall in the case of plant, bacterium and fungi. This fluid portion or jelly-like portion is called cytoplasm. This is nucleus. These are the organelles, different cell organelles. What is the structure of nucleus? Okay. First one is nuclear envelope. So I'll show you one diagram, then after that I will explain. Yes, look at here. So this is nucleus. Okay. Here you can see first endoplasmic reticulum. So this is the nucleus. I told you this is the nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. It's a double layered actually. Next to that you can see some blue color portions network like what it is called. It is called endoplasmic reticulum. In this endoplasmic reticulum you can see the round shaped red color. That is called, these are the ribosomes. Okay. Then inside the nucleus you can see there is a without membrane. For cell has cell membrane, even nucleus has nuclear membrane, but this is without membrane, that is called a nucleolus. The next you can see there is a fiber-like structures. These are called chromatin fibers. Clear? Then next you can see there is one fluid is present inside this, that is called a nucleoplasm. Inside the cell we told cytoplasm, but inside the nucleus this fluid is called nucleoplasm. Then you can see here in the covering there is a small pores or openings, that is called nuclear pore. Okay, this opening is called a nuclear pore. The nuclear envelope. Okay, so this is the outermost covering. This is nuclear envelope. It's a double layered. It's also called a nuclear membrane. Okay, nuclear membrane or nuclear envelope. It is double layered. Clear? Yes. So first one is nuclear envelope. It is a double layered membrane. I told just now. It's a double layered membrane that encloses the content of the nucleus during most of the cell's life cycle. Second, nuclear pores. The nuclear envelope is perforated with holes. They are called nuclear pores. Okay, as I showed just now, there are small openings in the nuclear envelope. Okay, they are known as nuclear pores. These pores regulate the passage of molecules between the nucleus and cytoplasm, permitting some to pass through the membrane but not others. So it is acting like a semi-permeable like membrane. It allowing certain things to get inside. Okay, it regulates the passage of molecules between the nucleus and cytoplasm. Third, nucleoplasm, also called a nuclear sap or karyoplasm, is a fluid usually found in the nucleus of eukaryotic cells. So there is a fluid present in the nucleus that is called a nucleoplasm. The fluid contains primarily water, dissolved ions, and a complex mixture of molecules. What are the three things? Water, dissolved ions, and a complex mixture of molecules. Its primary function is to act as a suspension medium for the organelles of the nucleus. So what is the function? Its primary function is to act as a suspension medium for the organelles of the nucleus. Which are the organelles of the nucleus? Nucleolus and chromatin fibers. Later it will become chromosomes. So it gives suspension medium. That is a function of the nucleoplasm. The nucleolus. Nucleolus is a membraneless organelle. I told just now it is a membraneless organelle within the nucleus that manufactures ribosome. What is the function of the nucleolus? It manufactures ribosome. The cell's protein producing structures. What is ribosome? The cell's protein producing structures. That is ribosome. I told you there is a round, red color round thing, that is ribosome. So what is the main function of the nucleolus? Manufacture of ribosome. What is the function of the ribosome? It produces the protein. Cells protein producing structures. Clear? The next, chromatin. Excuse me. Fibers of DNA and protein. Chromatin, it's like hair-like structures or fiber-like structures. Fibers of DNA and protein stores information for synthesis of protein. So they are storing information for the synthesis of protein. When cell prepares to divide, chromatin fibers coil up as separate structures, chromosomes. Okay, so when cell prepares to divide, what will happen? These fibers, they will coil up, and what will form? They form the chromosomes. Okay. So this is the structure of nucleus. I already showed to you. So I can one more I'll tell this. So this is the endoplasmic reticulum. I told next to the nucleus. It's you can see the network like there is endoplasmic reticulum. this red color portion that is called ribosome attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. The nucleolus is without membrane. This is nucleolus. The main function, it produce ribosomes. Okay, ribosome, what is the function? It produce protein. Then chromatin. So these are the fibers. They are called chromatin. At the time of cell division, this chromatin things they will coil together and will become thick. They are called chromosomes. The nucleoplasm, the fluid that is called nucleoplasm. There is a pores present in the nuclear membrane that is called a nuclear pore. Then this is the double layered nuclear envelope or nuclear pores. Sorry, nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. Clear? Then what are the main functions of nucleus? It regulates and coordinates various life processes of the cell. Regulates and coordinates various life processes of the cell. It plays an important part in cell division. So main cells will divide. So this nucleus, it plays an important part in cell division. It contains factors like genes which determine heredity. So we told here chromosomes. Okay, the chromosomes which contains genes which determine what? Which determine heredity. The nucleus is called the brain of the cell because it holds the information needed to conduct most of the cell's functions. So why it is called the brain of the cell? It holds the information needed to conduct most of the cell's functions. Okay. So that is the reason it's known as brain of the cell. Thank you, students.